Well, welcome aboard is that part of the show where we get you up to speed on happenings in Ghana and beyond as per the newspapers. So I have this morning the Ghanaian Times, the Daily Dispatch, the publisher newspaper, the Ghanaian Publisher, the Ghanaian Observer, and the Economy Times. Time to say bonjour to Mama V.
Hey, hi, good
Ça va?
weekend? Ça va trop bien? I think I had a wonderful weekend.
D'accord.
Very restful. Don't go further, Charlie. You know,
I was about to say,
you know the part where you talk and people actually have
Francais, and then I realized that
the part where, like, you know, if you had left it there, people would have been convinced that, oh, she speaks French too, you know.
Actually, we've left it there. You are now going you are exposing yourself with a big cheese. How are you this morning?
Oh, very well, very well.
Black
very
looks
well.
good on you.
Well, thank you.
The brooch and everything.
Thank
hey,
you.
Let me leave it there. Anyway, so which paper?
Before I charge you, because I'll say pay. All right, I'll do the Daily Graphic, the Finder, the Daily Guide, the Daily Statesman, and the Custodian.
Right.
Yep.
Let's start from your end.
So here we go with what's on the front page of the Daily Graphic today, 14th of December 2020, the year of our Lord. All information on 2020 elections intact. EC debunks allegation. Comes with a picture of the chairperson, Jean Mensah. Also, Parliament reconvenes today. We know 111 of them will not be going back to the 8th Parliament. Well, some of them have voluntarily retired, if you like. Some lost their primaries. But I guess the biggest loser would be the New Patriotic Party. They've actually had a lot of their members losing this particular election, those who went through the election. Also, Teshiman South results can only be settled in court, according to the Electoral Commission. Collaborates in national interest, experts tell administration. As four governance experts have urged the next administration to go to Parliament with policies and bills that will reflect the interest of the citizens to ensure cooperation from the opposition for smooth governance. And according to them, elected officials in the next administration must adopt negotiation mechanisms to bring on board the ideas and support of the opposition and make governance workable in the next 4 years. Well, you know, the thing about Parliament is I don't think it's been very difficult for the two sides to work together, really. I think largely they've agreed on things on the committee level.
I think sometimes because of the furore when it comes to some very touchy issues like in Japan and the rest, we tend to think it's very antagonistic in Parliament. By and large,
It's not.
maybe 85–90% of what they do is actually not antagonistic. So, I mean, it's legislation. And it depends on the way forward and the ideas. But that is why they have their committees and all of that to dissect some of these matters so that there is some consensus generally when those bills come to the floor.
Absolutely. In the center spread, there's a news feature on electioneering amidst rising coronavirus cases. You can check it out. On the back page, Liberty beats Olympics at Dansma. There was Kotoko and Legon Cities, isn't it? This was the game that... Did you watch it? Because they said... Asamoah was going to feature, but they lost, didn't they?
I didn't watch it, but I saw Asamoah recently, and I was just thinking, he's packing up a lot of weight in front of him.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, in front of him. He's growing a paunch, and for a footballer, but I guess he's in his heyday now when it comes to, or should I say, the latter stages of his career when it comes to football. So maybe to be expected. Did you see Obodo way back when that match that was played? Hey, it's been a while. I should find out where Obuokra is, the musician Obo.
Well, let's do the Times, shall we?
Well, let's move to the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Curbing electoral violence, prosecute perpetrators. That's Occupy Ghana. It's basically saying in a statement that it issued that perpetrating or prosecuting perpetrators would forestall any new violent incidents or fatalities. It says, from time to time, these things happen and we sort of take a soft stance to it. We should be hard to prevent any further such happenings. Desist from fomenting trouble, that is the Northern Regional RECSEC warning. But this one, Mama V, I had to get into it early. Elections coverage biased. That's the EU reports there. And I just want to read this portion because I've seen some people, regurgitate this on social media. A preliminary report by the European Union Election Observation Mission of Ghana 2020 has indicated that both state-owned and private media were biased in favor of the governing NPP in their election-related coverage. Chief observer, that is Javier Nat, said the NPP and its presidential candidate benefited from extensive additional coverage on GTV, Unique FM, and in the Daily Graphic through news and live broadcasts of government inaugurations. Interestingly, presenting the findings last Wednesday, they further observed that various private media, including UTV, the Chronicle, Daily Guide, showed bias in favor of the NPP, while Adom FM and Joy FM favored the NDC. You know, when I read all of this, I was like, okay, EU, hey, Yanya Wodeni, Ghana for, Yanya Wodeni. Whatever you do, I mean, you can never walk that fine line. You'll always be placed somewhere. And though he's commending the country's vibrant and diverse media, they are saying that some of us were. And interestingly, if supposedly we favor the NDC has come after us hard after the elections, claiming this and that. So just some interesting stuff.
I think you need to appreciate the way the system works in Ghana at any point in time, depending on when you're monitoring, the period within which you're
2008, 2012, we were the toast of, some parties. 2016, 2020, we had the...
So I was just saying that, like, if you're critical, if you're foreign, you may not notice this, but depending on the period when you're monitoring, especially when there is a case, for instance, if you're monitoring during the Ijapa days, then you would realize that there was a lot of minority voices, because in some instances, you wouldn't even get the majority.
Yeah.
So if you're monitoring around that period, you probably say, oh, they're giving a lot more time to the minority NDC. You've got to understand.
And that's one problem with this exercise.
You've got to understand how things play out in Ghana. We beg to differ, EU observers, by the way. The front page of the Finder newspaper. Where is the next page? Front page of the Finder, here we go. Presidents of 3 countries congratulates Akufo-Addo on re-election. There's a call, and it was in our news this morning on radio, Sam Kranchiankra urging President Akufo-Addo, the president-elect, to call John Dramani Mahama, let them sit down and have a conversation and resolve the current impasse. Also, GJ condemns anti-media attacks, and the GJ has come out very strongly supporting the media and the coverage of this particular election. It feels good to know that, your mother is backing you and is there holding you together.
Well, GG has been very proactive on this call, and I laud their effort that they've not kept quiet. I mean, once the happenings started, I remember I was in Studio 997 then, and the GJA president, the presser, and all of that, positive from Afil Money.
Well, House of Chiefs advises against violent post-election comments. Starting Agenda 2024 within MPP now is inimical. Also probe election deaths, injuries, and other infractions. One Ghana movement in their statement. That's the call that they are making. Governance experts advocate for change in parliamentary leadership. And is NDC in self-destruct mode? As a question, it says, scathing, baseless attacks can ruin its 2024 chances. There's a post, and I'll ask our producer call to go to former President John Dramani Mahama's Facebook page, okay? So he was in church yesterday and he posted something. We'll share with you when that is ready.
At the Assemblies of God.
Exactly, yes. It's something that he's been saying, and it will be good to share that with you. So we'll get it ready.
Maybe this very first caption, the banner headline in the Daily Dispatch, will pour cold water on what you were talking about, what Sam Kranchiankra and others have been saying. NDC will go to the Supreme Court over election. That's according to John Mahama.
Oh, this is the first time that...
When you get into that, yes, when you get into it, so it says that, I don't know whether this was in church, but Mr. Mahama stated at a press conference, actually, in Accra, we are unable to accept the outcome of the election as declared by the EC chairperson, Mrs. Jean Mensah. Those results are flawed and discredited. He cites Regulation 4 of CI 127, and he makes the claim that 140 seats were won by his group, but some 5 seats were, stolen in mysterious ways. So that is one of the stories there.
But where does it say that they're going to go to court? We all listen to that press conference. Well, we're looking for
it's not categorical. And since that time,
that's why I'm saying the headline.
Yusuf Husseini, unfortunately, said some of the things he did. But the rhetoric has been well, they mistrust the process. And the civil society and others, I mean, even on Newsfile, people told them, if you mistrust the process and if you have grievances, go to court. Because like it or not, the court of public opinion cannot overturn the results of an election. So head to the Supreme Court where that can actually be done. Chief of Staff heads Akufo-Addo's transition team. NPP's Victor Newman passes on, sad one, there. But before you come in, that story we're talking about is about some bias in the media. I do feel, though, and I'm being blunt here, the newspapers we review day in, day out, some of them, I'm not mentioning any names, but I guess I can because some of them are every day on one-sided papers. I've said it.
Yeah, but some of them will not deny the fact that they are aligned.
But yes, it points to some bias. They have some bias, just like Fox News.
Yeah. And if you're aligned, it's not a bad thing, is it?
No, it isn't. But I think even when you're aligned, you can practice whatever you do. But journalism can be, even in an aligned way, it can still be objective. I mean, Fox News they are one of the first who called the election for Biden, for example.
Well, let's do the Daily Guide, shall we? Front page of the Daily Guide, NDC gurus hunt for pink sheets. Kumasi Airport undergoes disinfection. Sixth opening trial witness discharged. That's how it looks like on the front page of the paper. Let's see if we can have some entertainment news in the center spread in that pull-out. Okay, all right. Okay, so I'm not going back to P Square. That's Nigerian music star Peter Okoye, known as Mr. P. He's opened up on the possibility of the P Square band coming back together again. In a lengthy post on Instagram, he said anyone nursing the hope that P Square would unite again should better kill it and move on. He pointed out that nothing lasts forever, reminding P Square fans that other music groups such as Boy, Style Plus, Remedies also split. Okay, so basically that. I don't know why people are still bothering them.
Justin Timberlake, I think that was NSYNC. And then there was Cisco as well. Was it Drew Hill or something?
There was even this
all of those people came out and they did
Harry Styles. What's the name of the group again?
Which one?
There's a group where Harry Styles was part of it.
I wouldn't know that one.
Oh,
I'm a Latter-day Saint.
This is actually Latter-day. This is not too long ago. Okay, well, yeah. So there are other stories there.
Sad.
But
I hope it hasn't created
a lot of
sad? Frosty. No, I mean the split.
They don't have a great relationship. That's what it is.
I know, but I mean, I hope the tone of it. What you just read.
Yeah.
It almost sounds as though it's impacting the real relationship, as in the brothers.
Oh, they don't have a real relationship.
Well, I thought at some point there was a bit of even when
Masana, Charlie, the relationship died. That's
and
what
I
it
hear
is.
there are some, Kales behind it. What is it? Some women. Hey, anyway, let's do the new publisher. NDC guru curses EC boss. Bloody fight in Amenfi MPP. And members chased with cutlasses. Office vandalized. And we've seen pockets of these. Really sad. Really sad. Because in this instance, is it the MPP on the MPP? Mahama under pressure to concede. That story is on page 6. Let me quickly view the Ghanaian publisher as well. Ajanasare congratulates Akufo-Addo, asks Mahama to contest results peacefully. Toyota Ghana and Kukuroko Charities partner to save lives. Akufo-Addo won't fall below 50%. That's according to Bentel Bako. Tells NDC to go to court with their evidence. All of this on the back of what has been happening, the rejection of the 2020 electoral results. Kennedy Japan warns incoming ministers, we won't tolerate or entertain any, but there appears to be a new word here, Mama B. Help me out.
Which one is
the
that?
Ghanaian publisher, Kennedy Japan warns incoming ministers, we won't entertain any arrogancy. That's a new one. Okay.
Do you want to Google it?
Nowadays, there are
You never know. Sometimes, yeah, exactly.
Arrogancy says.
Maybe I never buy and share.
Seek redress in court if you're unhappy. Ursula advises Mahama. All right, let's check out some other papers.
Okay, so I was just going to leave the rest so we can do myjournline.com, seeing that we don't have a lot of time. So if you have one more paper, you can go ahead and do it.
No, what I do have are trends. So you can actually do My Joy Online, and then we'll check out, trends.
Okay.
But apparently, we just might have some more time on our hands. So let's do the Ghanaian Observer. Election 2020, go to court if you disagree. Bring on fresh blood into parliamentary leadership. Governance experts tell MPP and NDC. And some have been touting Professor, my former head of department at the Political Science Department in the University of Ghana. Some have been touting him as their best, Speaker of Parliament. Some of those who are leaving.
Who's that, Michael Quay?
Yes.
Professor Michael Quay? Okay, well.
And the Economy Times, banks face negative outlook amidst difficult operating conditions. That's according to a report. Government searches for transaction advisors for $5 billion Eurobond. I guess we've become very accustomed to this bond and that bond and this bond and that bond. And what business can expect in 2021? So it's a wrap for me with regard to the headlines.
Okay, there's a story on page 52, and kindly get the BBC page for me. There's a story developing in Nigeria, some kidnap situation that I want us to get updated. So we'll go to myjoyonline.com, but let's do page 52 of the Daily Graphic newspaper. It's on gender, and the paper puts the spotlights on daughters who have stepped in their father's political shoes. The first really is Zanato Ajiman-Rollins, the Klote Kole Member of Parliament. She's retained the seat in this election. Elizabeth Ofusue-Jare, Techima North, also says not much was known or heard about her in the political circles until in 2013, when she was appointed Minister for Tourism, Culture, Creative Arts under John Dramani Mahama's administration. She's the daughter of the late Isaac Kwejo Ejay Mensah, who also won the parliamentary seat for the Techima North constituency between 1996 and 2003. The next one is Dakwa Newman. Let's see. Dakwa Newman keenly followed the exploits of her father, a founder, a member of the NPP, Mr. Victor Newman. And the last one is Sheila Batel Sam, Ablikuma North Member of Parliament. Let's see her roots. Okay. Yeah, so that's a daughter of Mr. Kwame Batel's, but I just wanted to read exactly what the paper was saying, except that I may have to read a bit longer. Okay, so let's see. She goes to Parliament as second generation of the Batel's nuclear family to represent the Ablikuma North constituency. Despite the huge influence of her father in both the party and in the constituency, Mrs. Batel Sam, an entrepreneur, did not win on a silver platter, but used her great organizational skills to her advantage. So 4 persons, really, who are stepping into their father's shoes, as the paper highlights. It's a good thing.
Interesting. Going back to the before era, very interesting perspective there. And so I did a quick check on that word, arrogancy.
Okay.
And apparently, while it exists, yes, it exists. So I'm eating humble pie here.
And now
it exists, but it's not one that is used often or profit. So that is it on that bit. But let me quickly maybe check out some of our Twitter trends for today, right before we check out the rest. Ashaiman is trending, and it's not pleasant. The people of Ashaiman are demanding fairness and transparency. Let our votes count. It's from a supposed demonstration that took place there, and some scenes. You might want to check out the trends. But as we captured it, Stoneboy rode to a polling station to vote in Ashaiman in style. He was on this, You want to see it? This is.
No, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it.
I don't want to see it. A bit of a bike situation. Then there's Arteta, Arsenal's coach. He's trending because, Charlie, the team keeps losing. And
is it the players or is it him?
I can't really tell. Maybe this should summarize it for you. When you come to Arsenal, which is at number 1 on the Twitter trends today, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang has scored more goals for opposition teams, 1, than he has for Arsenal at the Emirates this season. I think that summarizes the story.
So you say there's arrogancy, right?
Yes, apparently. But okay. It's not commonly.
But there is.
Oh, there is.
Okay.
All right. I've eaten humble.
So,
I've eaten humble pie.
Okay, so let's bring you something that your election headquarters also placed in the mirror. Here we go. We're just going to put it out there and read it. So this was in the mirror. Thank you for the privilege to serve you with a comprehensive coverage of election 2020. Hashtag thankful hearts, gratitude, Aseda, Election HQ. We are your election headquarters. It's been awesome this year, really. And I think that the confidence that the people have in us, at some point, you know, when people hear things, even when the political parties have said something, they want to come back to election headquarters and they want to ask you what really is the position.
I mean,
it's just...
Other media houses were putting things out there, and you would see people still coming to our platforms to confirm whether those things that the other media houses were putting out there were actually true. That tells you, but it's also quite a burden that we have then, an onus, a responsibility, and we try our hardest. Yesterday on The Probe, it was very interesting how we broke down the issues. Still people were bashing, but at least we showed you that we're very above the board with what we did.
Okay, so 3 things that I want to share with you. One is what former President John Dramani Mahama has posted on his Facebook page. This was about some 8 hours ago. We're going to put it on the screen and read it so you know you can. This is it. Together with Nana Jane and our families, we joined the Ringway Assemblies of God Church for fellowship earlier today, which was on Sunday. And check this out. He that handles a matter wisely shall find good, and whoever trusts in the Lord, happy is he. Proverbs 16:20. Does he say something to you? Well, that's the latest that we have in terms of what he is probably thinking or what he wants to do. You can break it down in your own ways. We've told you about how Sam Kwanshiankra has made a call, is calling on President Akufo-Addo to give John Dramani Mahama a call, let them sit down and have a conversation, also asking that he takes some people from the NDC into his administration. So we'll see how this one goes. The other one is in Nigeria. This is sad. It brings back memory of the Chibok girls. But there's been a kidnap situation in Nigeria. Security forces searching for abducted Nigerian schoolboys. Let's see if I can get the full story and read at least a line for you. And this is being picked from the BBC. It says hundreds of boys are still missing from gunmen abducted from their boarding school in northern Nigeria on Friday night. Anxious parents gathered at the school waiting for news as the security forces continue to search a forest area outside the town of Kankara to try to locate them. About 800 pupils were enrolled at the all-boys school. Armed groups often kidnap people for ransom in northwestern Nigeria. So far, the gunmen have not made any demands. So that's the situation in Nigeria with the kidnapping. I think there was, after the Chibok girls, there was another kidnapping in 2018.
There have been a number of kidnappings, actually.
Yeah, but they say, you know, the Chibok girls we know was the Islamic group, right? But they say there are other kidnappings where they ask for ransom, and they suspect that this is one of those, except that
this time they've not asked.
They haven't, exactly. Nothing has
Which
come
makes
up.
it even more precarious, because when they go silent like that, you don't know, and you're afraid, I mean, for the lives of the people who have been kidnapped.
Yeah. Well, the last thing I want to share with you is also something that's, you know, recently just came up. So, you know, the use of doctor when you are when you've done academic research and you've earned the title. So basically a doctor of letters rather than a medical doctor. Thank you. There's somebody who's been writing in the Wall Street Journal about Joe Biden's wife. You know, she's Dr. Jill Biden. Yeah. She's a teacher in a community college. And
she enjoys
she uses the, because she's going to be teaching even as First Lady. And he's written like a lengthy article talking about how if you haven't delivered a baby, for instance, you can be called a doctor. So you have to be like a medical professional to be called a doctor, and urging her to drop the name. And there are people who are giving it to him on Twitter, for instance. The one that I love is coming from Hillary Clinton, who says that her name is Dr. Jill Biden. Get used to it.
I mean, I think here in our part of the world, we get too fussy over titles and the rest. But you notice that a lot of them, you know, they like to be referred to just by their names. But of course, when it comes to maybe written form, then you would see, for example, Mama V. Oswabwaji. Receive it, PhD.
Yes.
What do you say?
Yeah.
Know what time it is. That's just the way.
Yeah, but
a lot of them don't even.
Yeah, but if you've gone to school, listen, if you've studied for it, you've gone through everything, Massa, you are entitled to use it the way you want.
How about those in our system who receive it on an honorary level and Charlie, they will insist?
If it was one of those, I guess, yeah. I mean, because you're not really, it's not like you're entitled to.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this one, Charlie, she's earned it. And somebody made the comment that if it was a man, would somebody write this article about a man? Okay, well, that's it for the review.
That guy has issues. He has issues.
You have to go to myjoyonline.com. We've got plenty of news. There's Champions League round of 16 draw later today. Rico Mpofu has got all the matches played over the weekend. And then, of course, local games as well. And then he will talk about the Champions League. Stay with us.